gnarly and nasty. Look at that. Yep, there's our failure point right there. Alright, so the task at hand today is replacing one of these. This is a oil filter housing on a 2014 Passat TDI. And I'll save you most of the details, but the nutshell it is to say that the dealership said that that was what was wrong, excuse me, and that they wanted to charge me $1,500+ for it. And I'm not about to pay that, especially if I have tools. So let's get cranking. And there we go, jacked up. Alright, let's see what kind of stuff we can take loose here first. So it's sitting down in here, and let's just, I got the battery unplugged. That's why I have it charging over here, because it was low even to begin with. But let's see what we can do to get some of this stuff out of here. I'm going to take the underside off first, and then drain the coolant. Yeah, let's do that. No. There she comes. Now she's a mess. That's nasty. Gnarly and nasty. Look at that. I like how they have all these little Torx bits. That's gonna make things really fun to get to. There's already a Tor. No drain plug. Alright, no biggie. I'm thinking it's going to be this guy right here. I think that's the hose we're going to need to take this out and drain it. Oh, that's got oil in it. What? That's nice. Cool. Alright, let's see what things might break. Look at all that room we have now. You can almost get to it. Alright. So this is all of the room we have now. What I'm going to try to do is get this loose. See about either moving or getting rid of some of this stuff here. But we have down in there some more hoses and things to get to. But in order to get to this, we need to be able to remove this. So that's the priority as of right now. Since we have everything draining and loose, makes me, well, what the heck is that, the starter? Huh, starter's underneath of the airbox, that's the first. Ow. Ouch. Alright, so the issue we have going right now is, get you closer. There's not enough room really to fit any fingers down in here between this fan shroud and this thing here. So I'm going to take this fan out, and then we should be able to get to that just fine, just as long as we don't bend up the radiator doing so. Yeah, baby, look at that. Now we're talking about room. I like that a lot better. Okay, I should be able to stick our whole fingies in there. Get this clip off. Look at that. So much more room. Obviously you want to be careful you don't bang up into this too much, and then you end up screwing up a lot of stuff. So, alright, we got everything undone. Let's see if it comes out. Are you kidding me? Another hose on it? Oh, for Christ's sake, I forgot a hose. Alright, running it through the bottom. Hopefully without too much incident. Alright. Alright, we gotta expose what we need now. Whew. I only messed up the radiator a little bit. And that, sir, is what we're after. We're after those little tiny bolts. Way back yonder. So. The reason I did that was just to get any air out of and oil out of the system that I could, because I think it shoots oil back and forth and through there. So should probably drain the oil at the same time, just to keep any major leaks down. But I think we should be okay as long as anything doesn't move it. All right, take a break and then I'll be back at it again. All right, next day here, and we're starting to get into the meat and potatoes of this particular operation. Okay, we're gonna need an extension. Here's the challenge that I'm working with. So I have to hold this in and then turn it at the same time. Have ourselves some money. Get out of the way. There we go. Gotta drop it through the bottom, unfortunately. It's okay. There we go. Oh, it's got a couple bolts coming out. That's alright. No big deal. I'll get them. Get out of there. Alright, this is what they were saying was bad. You can see a lot of buildup. But see, yeah, okay, so just go through that side. Except the oil comes down here. Pumps it, and this is some kind of pump or something. I don't know, that does look kind of... Yep, there's our failure point right there. A nice crack, and that's where it was coming through. Okay, so let me see if I can get you guys in on that. So here's the failure point. We've got plastic bits coming off of this. That's where we failed. And a lot of like sediment silt yuck. That looks like sawdust. Huh. There's no faking that. Like some kind of sealant putty or something. So I think this was leaking before. You ought to have that tested. See if somebody decided to jack me over. Interesting. So this is what we can see down here. Looks like we have... I mean, that really does look like sawdust. How far does that go in there? Huh. I mean, at least the oil and stuff looks fine. That looks like where we had our leaky passage right there, maybe. It's really hard to tell. Because quite frankly, it goes up here underneath where the thermostat is too. There's a lot of leakage up in there. We may end up having to replace both. Interesting. What I think I will do though, let's just get as much of this stuff out as I can. I'm gonna scrape this out and collect it. Huh, there's a little bit up in there too. Alright, so far we have, you guys can see down there, got the connector removed. Got all the good stuff out of there. And some bolts removed, more hoses removed, and everything's looking good so far. So I think what we're going to end up doing now is removing the alternator, and then we'll get the bolts out, and then we'll take out the thermostat. That's all cleaned up, so I don't want to install that. I'm going to change that thermostat since we found a whole bunch of wood chips and junk and everything else down there. I'm going to keep the wrench down there. It's a sacrificial wrench. There we go. Got it. Not as much gunk in there as I thought there would have been. It's a good thing to have checked. A little bit of corrosion, but not bad otherwise. Even the water pump looks pretty good. Alright, so pardon my chicken scratch, but we got all the numbers that we need to get the torque specs on this thing from the service manual. So let's go ahead and get started on torquing those down. Alright, that's torqued. That's torqued. Double checking to make sure we have gaskets. We do. Good gaskets. Alright, so one of the things I'm not doing, I'm not going in here yet and tightening down all of the little bolts that go back there, because they have to be done in a specific way. They have to be in a diagonal pattern. And then you have to do that however many Newton meters and then pass 90 degrees past that. So that's according to the service manual. But right now I'm going to put this hose back in there. And it goes to the transmission cooler, down to the oil cooler, and then into the coolant pipe. So let's put that in. It's like it's stripping almost. What's the deal with that? Alright, well, good news. I was able to find a replacement for that bolt, so what I'm going to end up doing is using some of this stuff, the anti-seize. This is the bolt to replace it with. One that actually makes sense. You actually put a wrench over it. Kind of nice. Alright, let's grab this and do one of these. There we go. A nice little dip. Put that in there. You never know. You never know. Alright. Just torqued and turned to 90. Let's do the other ones the same way and we'll be good. Do one last torque. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna call that installed. So I'm not too sure why, but in here it looks like chocolate syrup. Pretty gross. I wonder if I can clean that. Good stuff. Mineral spirits. Well, I would hazard a guess to say that was the last water line. Before I go too crazy, I'm just going to put regular water in here. You can always drain regular water, but that other stuff is expensive. Took a finger. Alright, so far, fortunately, it looks like nothing is really... Well, that's kind of cold. I hear the water, but I don't see nothing leaking. So, I don't recommend people do this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to start this motor just to see if there's anything leaking, and I'm not going to keep it running for very long because the oil has probably got gunk in it, and so I'm not going to, that's stupid. You don't want to run anything too long like that. And besides that, it doesn't have an air cleaner on it. None of this stuff's hooked up, so we're not going to keep it running for too long. But I do want to see if there's any leaks. So probably like, less than a minute. Here goes nothing. Yeah, I'm nervous. Alright, let's plug that math in before we get in trouble. Alright, let's try that. Alright, so one thing we did have, we got a money light, a check engine light on. So let's see what the problem is here. Engine coolant temperature sensor circuit high voltage. If I'm not mistaken, that's on the new thing I put in. Might just have to be calibrated. Well, survey says I forgot to plug in a sensor. Oh, well, it's probably good that we changed the other one back anyway, but at least we'll have a spare. First of all. Secondly, there's a little sensor down here that I unplugged. And it goes to this, which goes to the crankshaft sensor, which camshaft sensor, which is not good. I'm glad we caught that in time. So. No biggie, no biggie. Alright. Let's not have any more malfunctions here. Come on. Alright. Put this back on. Fingers crossed. See if we get the fans to come back on. Alright, running another code read here. I know we're still using this old piece of junk. I'm going to get one of those VAG tools, the Hex VAG, if I'm not mistaken. So let's go ahead and read the codes. Probably still show us the same thing. Let's go ahead and erase it. Let's see what happens now. Turned it off. Now we're going to turn it back on. And we got let's see, we go fire it back up. We got no codes. We got temperature. Let's see, we'll read them again. Come on, baby. Oh, I know that's not right. It's not, definitely not acting like it anymore. So something's kind of wrong, I'm thinking, with this. So let's see if we we'll read them again. I think it's probably just a stored code, which is no big deal because it's not throwing that anymore. Looks like everybody's happy. I'm happy, you're happy. Let's put everything else back together and drive it, because that is too cool. I think we're about set. Let's see. Let's read this. You know what? Before we get too far ahead of ourselves here, let's read some live data. We also need to change the oil, so I'm going to do that too. Matter of fact, while we're at it. And we're at 147 degrees Fahrenheit. I'd say we have the right amount of voltage. Perfecto, man. I'm digging it. I am digging it. Let's see what our math says when we lay on it a little bit. You go, wow! Woo! Yeah. Listen to those ponies. And the turbo and everything. Alright, let's change the oil before we keep fooling around. You know, there's nothing really wrong with this, but I still don't want to keep it in there. Invite problem. So the reason I'm changing this is because even though that this came with it, the housing, the new filter housing, I don't trust that they used a really great product. So I'm just gonna switch it out. I'm not even gonna play that guessing game. I think it's something smaller to get that. Yeah, I don't want to get into anything like this and not do it right the whole way through. You know, I imagine that's what caused a lot of the problems here before, is people were cutting corners. Obviously, but we don't cut corners here. We do the whole project, do it right. The only time I cut corners is on stuff that I'm building, but not stuff that this is a daily driver. Was a daily driver, but that's what I need to have happen again. I need a daily driver. Put these on. So do it right the first time. You don't ever have to worry about it. I used to change the oil on this thing religiously, like every 3,000 miles, whether it needed it or not, because they ran a Castrol campaign way back and wanted everybody to use Castrol, and well, quite frankly, you really can't get that oil around here anymore, so I use something different. I will show you in just a minute after I get this on. Always the first one that's a pain in the butt. I see some junk sitting up in here, so I'll fix that. That should go in like that, nice and tight. when I pulled the other one out, the filter just stayed down in there in the hole. That's how you know it was installed wrong. So it's a good thing we didn't drive it like that. Push that cable over. This has always been the fun part of the old one. That's putting this top part back in. Got her that time. Alright, now 25 Newton meters. Gotta go get a thing for my thing. Bet you never seen anything like this before. It goes smaller to bigger, not bigger to smaller. So we're only using this to just make sure that we're not over tightening it. Don't want to over tighten these or else we'll be back replacing it again. And I'm going to do it to about 220 inch-pounds. There we go. That's all she should need. Grab myself an open container of this here stuff. Seems to work pretty good in these. I like them. See, that's what I was always worried about. They said, well, you know, it's just moisture. It should be okay. As long as you apparently you didn't drive it, and so whatever. Oops. We don't want to do that. And let's take a look. See. Yeah. Give me a little credit. You think I am some kind of savage? Of course I'm gonna put that right side up. That's better. Well, it always makes you feel good. I can hear the comment section now. Oh, how come you didn't show us putting it back on? Oh, the fascia board's back on. Well, I haven't popped a single clip, as you can see. That was kind of up there. See? Look at that. I'll take it back off just to prove it. Oh, good thing I did that. I forgot one thing. Haven't popped a single clip. So now I'm going to put it back on. Well, she's on the longest trip she's had in a long time. Looks like our temperatures are doing pretty good. I'd say she's running nicely. It's nice and quiet, got the air conditioning on. So everything seems to be running really nicely. We'll do some freeway travel as well here, but it's pretty snappy in response. So foot to the floor in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'd say that's about normal from what I'm used to. Alright, we're on the freeway now, only going about 60, 65, no, what, about 70 now. So I'd say we're doing alright. Temperature's still looking good. Still running nice and smooth. And that's what we want. We'll check our coolant level when we stop up here. Alright, so we're parked up here. Let's open it up and see what we got. Don't see anything leaking. That fluid still looks good. Opened up. Whoa. Okay, yeah, apparently it's under pressure. Everything's good. We don't need to do all that. We're smelling it all the time now. Well, cool. Looks like it's fixed. I'd say it's fixed.
it, but I got it on my own. I've been working days and nights instead of staying in my zone. And you say you're all alone, all you do